how can we use creative hopelessness to get unstuck from the patterns that aren't working for us and get a little more creative about finding another way out? One of the tools that we use in ACT therapy to support clients in doing that is something called creative hopelessness. I've learned a lot about creative hopelessness from Ricky Kildegard, and we have the real treat of talking to her, where she will be doing a real play on me, a little creative hopelessness about my overscheduling problem. But this week I'm playing a real play from the experiential retreat that I just hosted in Sedona, Arizona. In this real play, I have a therapist that is coming up. I know nothing about what her problem is, and I'm demonstrating this really specific skill of generating a little bit of hopelessness around the way in which she's approaching a problem in her life, with the hope of creating some different ways to respond. I'm not going to reveal a ton of identifying information about this therapist, but she did give me permission to use this video for training purposes and for all of you. And also note that I just had about 15 minutes with her to get to a different spot. The nature of creative hopelessness, as Ricky will tell us next week, is both doing a functional analysis where you're actually doing an assessment of what's keeping someone stuck while you're also trying to change their perspective on their stuckness. And you'll see that happen throughout this conversation. After the real play, I opened the floor to the audience, which was a group of 46 therapists from all over the country with different backgrounds and experiences and approaches to share their feedback on what they heard. I hope that you find this real play helpful to you in considering what's important here. What's getting in the way of living the life that you want to live? What are you doing that's contributing to your stuckness? And how well is it working for you? Enjoy this real play on creative hopelessness. Mental health and behavioral health professionals, I hope that you will join Joseph Sorochi and Stephen Hayes and myself on Friday, December 8th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be offering a CE workshop on process-based therapy. Joseph and I will be leading the workshop from 11 to 4. We'll talk about how process-based therapy is revolutionizing mental health, how to do network modeling. You'll get some experiential practice. And then Steve Hayes will be there for the last hour in a live question and answer session. So I hope you sign up. The link is in the show notes. See you there. Because I'm trying to, my priority is also for you, to be with you, then I may not follow the script. Okay, so I hope that you don't go into a session and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to ask these 4 questions, and then I'm ignoring my client, right? That this is just a frame through which I want to work with you on creative hopelessness. So as much as we can, you and I get here, and there's folks that are listening and watching, but I want this to be about us in this moment and generating creative hopelessness.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about you jumped up here so quickly. Tell me a little bit about what you're struggling with, what your problem is.
Drinking.
Drinking. Yeah. Tell me about it. What happens for you around drinking? And if you can hold your mic, it helps.
I guess insecurity.
Insecurity?
Yeah. You know, when I have to do something that is important, for example, and I have to do it, there's no way out. Then at the end or later in the day, I'm still like hyper with that sensation in order to calm down and to, not feeling that, numbing that. Well, I didn't know that I was going to numb my behavior. I didn't know because everybody drinks. So people looks like happy and relaxed when they drink. So I try it. And it worked.
So when you feel insecure in your day or things that are difficult about your day. It sounds like what I'm hearing. Hi, I'm Dr. Diana Hill. Thank you so much for joining me with Your Life in Process. And if you want more, if you're interested in applying these processes to your daily life, join me at my membership, More Life in Process. At More Life in Process, you will get meditations for you to practice at home. You'll get extra bits from the episode that maybe got recorded after the fact. You're going to get PDFs and handouts, things that you can use to apply your daily practice to your life. And I can't wait to see you there. $5 a month, $50 for the year. You can go to yourlifeinprocess.com to sign up. And there's that, it kind of builds up and builds up and builds up. And then you get home and you drink and it calms it back down. Calms it back down. So in some ways it's really working for you, but you're saying this is something you want to work on. So what's not working for you about it? Why is it a problem for you?
It goes against my values. I didn't know that. Because I value health and life more than anything. I love it. I mean, how do I show my love to life? I was wondering that. Like, you always wonder, how do you show my love? I mean, your love to me, to your kids, So life, if I say I love life, I love God, I love everything, I wonder if they question, how do you love me if you don't take care of your health, your destiny? And there is a lot of evidence that alcohol is not good for you in any amount.
Seems like there's something more than just it not being good for you. You said it's like showing my love for life.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's really important to you. And somehow alcohol's getting in the way of that.
I think so.
How?
Okay. When you know, I don't want to use the word better, but when you know something different, and there is a lot of evidence and research that alcohol is not good in any amount, so you have to act accordingly to that, right? According to your values, and not working, and I am not doing that.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like one of the things that you may be doing to try and convince yourself to stop drinking is that alcohol is not good for you. And I'm wondering, how well is that working for you, trying to tell yourself that alcohol isn't good for you? Is it helping you stop drinking?
No.
It's not.
No.
Yeah. What happens when you say that to yourself? Alcohol is not good for you.
I don't pay attention to that.
You don't pay attention to it?
No.
Yeah.
I don't respond to that thought. And it doesn't matter how much I tell myself it's not healthy, it doesn't go with anymore.
Yeah. So no matter how much you tell yourself that alcohol isn't good for me, or I don't want to be doing this, it's not preventing you from going in that direction. And at the same time, I really hear deep in your heart, this is something that you want to change.
I think I am absolutely sure about that.
Yeah, you're really sure about that. I'm wondering what else isn't working for you. What else have you tried? So you've tried the alcohol isn't good for you approach, which is actually what a lot of us do, and actually what our society tells us to do. Like, smoking is bad for you. Pick up a thing of cigarettes, and it says on it, smoking causes birth defects and cancer. And you know what happens when you pick up a thing of cigarettes that says smoking causes birth defects and cancer? You feel really shameful and bad about your smoking. And then you got a pack of cigarettes in your hand. And you're like, I know it will make me feel better. So you're also experiencing a feeling of stress and tension from the day. You're going home. You know this thing will bring you calm. And maybe you're telling yourself drinking is not good for your health. And that's not improving the situation. What else do you try that doesn't work? What else have you been trying to get out of your drinking?
I guess I haven't tried enough.
Say more.
I haven't done anything else. I mean, just sitting and meditating and repeating this love statements for life and for health and, the gratitude of everything that is clean and pure. That's the only thing that I do, nothing else. I mean, which is interesting because there's two competing ideas of, I know the truth, but I don't live the truth. So it's really hard, Then probably, I don't know, now with this, instead of, I don't know if it has something to do with I have a cognitive fusion about this is the only way. Or I don't know if there is something else.
Yeah. That discrepancy between knowing the truth and not living the truth is really a painful place to be in.
Yes, absolutely.
It's so painful.
Yes. It makes you feel like a fraud.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, a fraud. You are a fraud. You are, how come, That's what everybody is trying to do, like live into what I want. And I don't want to do this because it's not healthy, it's not good in any amount. Sometimes it's complicated because this, glass of wine is not causing any harm to you. It's not doing anything. It's not impeding you to get up in the morning, do your life. You are an effective, functional individual, and you say everybody drinks. It's what is wrong? Why? There's nothing wrong with it. But the back of your head said, no, this is not. It's not. This is not healthy.
So I'm hearing in there is another thing that you do to help with this space between this discrepancy between how you want to be and how you are. And so one way you do it is you try and up the reasons why you want to improve, the healthy reasons.
Okay.
But then another thing I'm hearing in there is that you do a little bit of like, it's not that bad. It's just one glass of wine. There aren't big consequences, right? That there's a bit of a swing there between either trying to motivate yourself to be a better, healthier person. That doesn't seem to work by getting used, And then the other thing that also doesn't work is telling yourself it's not that bad. Just one glass of wine.
Exactly.
I hear in there the story. Everyone's drinking.
Yeah.
And in both of these two solutions, whether it's the solution of letting yourself off the hook or the solution of get a grip, neither of those are really working for you. And I also hear you say, and I haven't tried a lot else. So what our work together, if we were to work together, would be about exploring some other paths. Exploring some other paths that maybe you never even thought you could explore, or you don't even know where they're going to take you. But some other paths in response to your drinking. Some of those paths may be about your drinking tonight starts really early on in your day. And looking at how earlier on you could do things maybe differently for yourself and live that love and life earlier on in your day and caring for yourself may result in a different outcome at night when you're drinking and how you respond to the stressors that come up. Some of those paths may be us trying out little tiny things as opposed to the all or nothing of either I'm drinking or I'm not drinking, how you can intervene at night.
Okay.
But there's a lot of different places that maybe you haven't explored yet. And as a therapist, I want to explore with you.
Okay.
Because I believe that there's a way to get to where you want to get to, but maybe the way you've been going about it is contributing to that stuck. That stuck feeling. And we all get stuck. I have my own, I'm like, got my own stuff. And I have my own places where I feel like a fraud. If anyone saw. Yeah. So if we were to meet again, like say you were to come back a year from now, and you were to come back to this retreat, and you were to do another real play, and you were in a different place around your relationship with alcohol, what would it look like? What would you want it to be like?
Present with this thing that we call life, connected. I don't aim to be, it's not about being good or perfect, but when, as you know, if you know that something is not good, it's not healthy, and you know it because it's like this knowledge that I have, and I still do it, so it's keeping me disconnected. I mean, if this is alive and have a conscious of me, it will say, okay, you did it, you know, you are doing everything to honor my essence.
You want to honor the essence?
Yes, honor the essence of life. I mean, I can see you. I can see everybody. I can see that you're breathing, you know, and this is life. This is something bigger than me, and that essence is alive, is present, is here, and you connect with the essence of what it is, being the same as that, and I want that. And I am not that. And I know that one step to get me closer to that is, you know, get rid of, it will be the idea of not being good enough. Before that took me to drinking a glass of wine or a beer to just numb. Like, I don't know, it works instantly.
So when that feeling of not being good enough shows up, you're wanting to be able to remember your essence and the essence of life, and to honor that within yourself, so that it takes a different path. Not a path towards drinking, but maybe a different path to somewhere else. And the good news is that we have a few days here where there's no alcohol.
I know. I came here for that reason.
Yeah. And so that doesn't mean that feeling of not good enough won't show up, or that feeling of, wow, today was a long day and it was stressful and it built up inside of me. But you're going to have an opportunity to explore, oh, this is what I usually do. But what happens when what I usually do isn't there? Is there something else? And it's curiosity. It's like, I'm just curious. I'm open to discover what would help me make contact with that essence of life. And I hope that some new opportunities show up for you over the next few days. Because I think it's possible in this environment to have a shift.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Very good.
Focused on trying to get into contact with the struggle, the things that you've been doing that aren't working, and the possibility of something different. That's creative hopelessness. How was it for you on the receiving end of it? What happened for you in the real play?
Vulnerability. Vulnerability and honesty. I mean, honesty means like, well, yes, I guess. I am here saying that I don't feel good about it. It's not healthy. It doesn't take anywhere. And I haven't said that. I haven't declared that to anyone. As a matter of fact, I don't drink in public at all because it's not a good example of what I represent, which is health, mental health, physical health, you know, a life that has a purpose and meaning. it's not avoiding anything.
Yeah. I was noticing that if I were to kind of start to look at the connections, like the chain analysis for you, or the network for you, that there's something about that feeling of being a fraud or that discrepancy that I'd be curious as a therapist, like, does that trigger you to go into telling yourself all the reasons why you need to stop drinking, but then leads to the dead end? It actually doesn't lead to you not drinking, but really that part of you that feels like a fraud needs your compassion. You know, I just wonder about that, like that needs that to be able to contact what you talked about, just your light and your love of life, and that was so present in our session. Like I felt it emanating from everything you said. And did you all feel that from her? Like, oh my gosh, you can see that value right here and right now. And she's saying, I'm not living it, but I was feeling it. You know, I'm curious what your experience of it was. What did you notice? What did you? And give lots of praise to Maria for doing that. Oh my God. It is a lot of vulnerability and honesty. But yeah, what did you all notice in the?
Well, I can talk loud. I mean, I just noticed, I was like, oh, I do everything wrong.
As a what? Human therapist, client?
No, I guess it's not, it's just like, I like the approach. Because I think that I go into more of sort of assessing their usage and how often and that kind of stuff first, which is probably not, which I like this better because it establishes the relationships first and honors the person separate from the addiction.
Yeah.
But on that note, what's the balance between trying to honor that respect but then trying to get at really how bad is the problem?
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah, that's in the back of my head. Don't worry. I'm like, is she drinking 3 bottles of wine?
Exactly. But that's
but does she need to say it out loud?
but that's what I have learned, you know, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to impair the capacity to live your life, but it's impairing the capacity to love my life. So then when you're young, you just don't know, and then you drink wine and it makes you feel good, and then that's it, and you keep doing it. It hasn't got worse over the years, so it hasn't increased. It hasn't changed, and we need to change.
So to respond to the assessment question also, we did that real play, what was it, 10, 15, if that, minutes? Okay, 15 minutes of the session. I'm meeting the client where they're at.
Exactly.
I'm not coming in to problem solve yet, because what will happen is you'll lose your client if they don't feel understood. And so I will get to the assessment, and you're right, we do need to have an assessment of how is she drinking, where is she drinking, how much is she drinking, how long has the drinking been going on for, how is it impairing her work, is she drinking when she's seeing clients, is she drinking and driving, you know, all the things. I have a teenager, and I'm becoming very much more skillful at this. I'm like, when to sit on my hands and know that I'm going to get the information out of him, but I'm going to sit on my hands first. So those assessments will come because what we get is her buy-in. And we get that she wants something different. And I've set myself up. You've tried this, you've tried this. Neither of these are working. We're going to explore some other avenues. In order for us to explore some other avenues, I got to get a sense of what you're doing. So walk me through your day. And part of walking me through your day will be not only for her to give the topography of her drinking, but to give the topography of her stress. And give the topography of what happens when she walks in the door and who does she meet. And then the drinking becomes part of the whole picture as opposed to the like, because we already know that she's got this thing going on, like I'm bad because I drink. And I don't want to add to that, right? But you're so right on. Like, and it's always this delicate balance as a therapist of assessment. Assessment gets in the way of connection. And then connection can get in the way of assessment. And how do we hold both?
And that's what I noticed the most from your approach was you were focusing, I mean, obviously it's a 10-minute quick.
Yeah.
But you were focusing on the connection more on your need for chronology and documentation. How bad is it, blah, blah, blah. You weren't shaming her. I liked it because it was building up to it.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of that type of person that just wants check. And you gotta sit with somebody for a little bit longer.
Yeah. So if you've ever been in someone trying to check you,
That's awful.
guess what you start doing? You start lying. I can tell you just want to know how much, and I already feel this crappy feeling about how much I'm drinking, so I'm going to kind of like tell you about 70% of what I really am doing. And so we need to the best of our ability. This is a safe place. So I want to support you in what you want. That's my job, is to support you in what you want. And you're telling me you don't want to drink, and I want to know why. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, she just said out loud, this is the first time I've said this, so she's like, that's a huge step. She's verbalized it, and so then you kind of exactly what you said. So if you go with that shame right after, a lot of questions.
Yeah, targeting, I would say, a huge component of this, I would target is shame. Huge thing. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Marianne.
Okay, thank you.
Beautiful.
All right, here's how you can practice a little creative hopelessness with something that you are stuck with. Go ahead and get out a piece of paper. You can journal these questions, or you can talk them out with a friend or a therapist, or you can use a little voice memo. Talk them out into your phone and see what happens for you as you move through them. First, what are you struggling with? Second, what have you tried to solve this problem? Third, how well is it working for you? Fourth, what are the costs? And 5, what is it that you really want? After answering these questions, you might find that there's a little bit more spaciousness to explore something new. And that's the idea of evolution, variation, selection, retention, and also the idea that Brad Stulberg talked to us about in terms of order, disorder, reorder. If you were to reorder things, you need to mix them up a little bit in order to get to a new spot. I'll have all of those questions listed for you. Stay tuned. We get the expert on creative hopelessness, Ricky Kildegard, who is going to talk to us about what it is and do a little demo on me. So stay tuned for that. It's a great episode. Take care.